Part 2, The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse. So we were talking about Murad and Aram, that how Murad early morning he brought a white horse outside the house of Aram, and we invited him for a ride. Now, no member of the Geroglian family could be a thief, and Aram believed that no member of their family can be a thief. I stared first at my cousin and then at the horse. So he stared. Stared means उसने लगातार देखता रहा. There was a pious stillness and humor in each of them. Them means his eyes, which on the one hand delighted me and on the other frightened me. So he looked at his cousin, and there he saw pious means pure stillness and humor, a fun in his eyes, which shows innocence and unconcern. And then one hand he was happy to see him, and the other hand he was afraid. Murad, I said, where did you steal this horse? Leap out of the window. Jump out of the window, he said, if you want to ride. It was true then. He had stolen the horse. There was no question about it. He had come to invite me to ride or not, as I chose. So now it was clear to him that he has stolen the horse and he has come to invite him. Well, it seemed to me stealing a horse for a ride was not the same thing as stealing something else, such as money. Now, Aram, so small, 9 years old, now he is satisfying himself. He's saying, well, it seemed to me that stealing a horse for a ride was not the same as stealing the money. So he is giving the clarifications to his own heart. For all I knew, maybe it wasn't stealing at all. वो कह रहा है हो सकता है ये बिल्कुल stealing ही ना हो. If you were crazy about the horses, the way my cousin Murad and I were, it wasn't stealing. Now he's giving the justification that, and if you are more crazy, you are more mad for horses like his cousin Murad and he, then it was not considered stealing. It wouldn't become stealing until we offered to sell the horse, which of course I knew we would never do. And then the next option he says, gives another justification, कि they were not selling the horse. अगर वो बेचेंगे तभी वो चोरी कहलाएगी. Let me put on some clothes, I said. All right, he said, but hurry. I leaped on into my clothes. I leaped means very, very fast he changed. I jumped down to the yard from the window and leaped up onto the horse behind my cousin Murad. That year we lived at the edge of town, border of the town on Walnut Avenue. Behind our house was the country. Country means it was a village. There were all vineyards, orchards, irrigation ditches, and country roads. So there was all vineyards, those plants of grapes, grapevines were there, orchards, fruit gardens were there, then ditches were there for irrigation purpose. Ditches means gadde khode hue the unhone, and the country roads. In less than 3 minutes, we were on Olive Avenue, and then the horse began to trot. And after that, the horse began slower. It came to its slow speed. The air was lovely, new and lovely to breathe. The feel of the horse running was wonderful. My cousin Murad, who was considered one of the craziest members of the family, began to sing. Now Murad, he began to sing. I mean, he began to roar. So he says that not singing, he was like roaring. Every family has a crazy streak in it somewhere, and my cousin Murad was considered the natural descendant of the crazy streak in our tribe. Now, Aram says that every family has some crazy streak. Streak means inherent quality. Har ek family mein there is some inherent means natural qualities there. And his cousin Murad, he was considered natural descendant of the crazy streak in our tribe. और जो उनकी क्वालिटी थी, इनहेरेंट क्वालिटी थी उनके ट्राइब में, ही वॉज द नेचुरल डिसेंडेंट. नेचुरल डिसेंडेंट मीन्स ही हैड द ट्रेट ऑफ द कैरेक्टर इन हिम, एंड दैट क्रेजी स्ट्रीक उसी में थी. क्रेजी स्ट्रीक मीन्स ही हैड दैट क्रेजी, किसी भी चीज़ के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा मैड हो जाना. बिफोर हिम was our uncle Khosrow, an enormous man with the powerful head of the black hair and the largest moustache in the San Joaquin Valley. A man so furious in temper, so irritable, so impatient that he stopped anyone from talking by roaring. It's no harm, pay no attention to it. Now he was a descendant, it was considered that he is a descendant of Uncle Khosrow. उनकी फैमिली में एक अंकल खसरौ थे और मुराद जस्ट had same qualities as him. Now this Khosrow uncle, he was a very big man. Enormous man means big man. Powerful head with the big black hair and largest moustaches in the whole San Joaquin Valley. A man, this man, very furious in temper. He was very, very angry man. So irritable, very bad tempered, so impatient. बड़े impatient हो जाते थे, बेसब्रे हो जाते थे. that he stopped anyone from talking by roaring, and he didn't like anybody talking talking in front of him by roaring voice में वो मना कर देते थे. And he used to always say, it's no harm, pay no attention to it. These were his usual words. It's no harm, pay no attention to it. That was all. No matter what anybody happened to be talking about. Once it was his own son Arak running 8 blocks to the barber's shop where his father was having his mustache trimmed to tell him their house was on fire. He's saying that was all. No matter what anybody happened to be talking. ये नहीं कि कोई कुछ भी बोल रहा है. Once his own son came running to the barber shop, 8 blocks छोड़ के वो वहाँ पर भाग कर आता है, telling him that their house was on fire. This man, Khosrow, sat up in the chair and roared, "It is no harm, pay no attention to it." The barber said, "But the boy says, your house is on fire." So Khosrow roared, "Enough, it is no harm, I say." So this is the funniest streak in him. And he did not like all this talking and all. उसने कहा कोई बात नहीं, होने दो. My cousin Murad was considered the natural descendant of this man. And then he says that मेरा जो भाई है cousin Murad, तो वो considered किया जाता है कि वो बिल्कुल उनके जैसा है. Although Murad's father was Zoreb, who was practical and nothing else, whereas his biological father was Zoreb, who was very practical man. That's how it was in our tribe. A man could be the father of his son's flesh, but that did not mean that he was also the father of his spirit. Now he's saying that is in our tribe. ज़रूरी नहीं कि if somebody's son, somebody's father, जो उसका जो बेटा है वो उसकी फीलिंग्स भी उसके जैसी हों. बेटा उसका अपना ज़रूर है, वो बायोलॉजिकल फादर ज़रूर है, बट जो उसकी क्वालिटीज़ हैं वो हो सकता है दूसरे के ऊपर हो. The distribution of the various kinds of spirit of our tribe had been from beginning capricious and vagrant. And then he said कि जो हमारी जो various distribution of various kinds of spirits means people. वो कह रहे हैं कि जो भी अलग अलग तरह के हमारे स्पिरिट के जो लोग हैं उनकी सबसे मेन जो क्वालिटीज़ हैं उनके ट्राइब की वो हैं कि दे आर वेरी कैप्रीशियस. कैप्रीशियस मीन्स दे आर वेरी अनप्रेडिक्टेबल. दैन दे आर वेग्रेंट, दे आर वेरी इनकॉन्स्टेंट. वॉन्डरिंग मतलब वो एक जगह फिक्स नहीं रह सकते, घूमती रहती है उनकी फीलिंग्स भी, उनका रहना भी, और वो बड़े अनप्रेडिक्टेबल है. उनके बारे में आप कुछ डेफिनेट नहीं कह सकते.